my time as a pastor, there's been several occasions along the way where someone has come to me and they've asked about what is blaspheming the Holy Spirit. And typically it's because they're concerned that they've blasphemed the Holy Spirit and God's not going to forgive them. And I simply say to them, and if that's a concern that you have, I say to you tonight, if you're concerned about that, then I'm pretty confident you haven't blasphemed the Holy Spirit. Because blaspheming the Holy Spirit is not a sin that God is unwilling to forgive. It's a sin wherein the individual is unwilling to ask for forgiveness. And it usually falls on one of two ends of the spectrum. It's either self-righteousness or it's rebellious pride. It's self-righteousness like the Pharisees. The Pharisees were calling Jesus an agent of Satan because they were so blinded by their own righteous acts, if you can say that, their own self-righteousness, that when embodied righteousness is in their midst, coming against the kingdom of darkness, their thoughts were, that must be an agent of Satan. There was a pride, there was an agenda that they had that kept them from seeing the true work of the Spirit. And it wasn't just that they missed the work of the Spirit, but then they started to call the work of the Spirit the work of the enemy, the work of the devil. So there is a self-righteous pride that can blind the heart of a person that keeps them from understanding and realizing their own spiritual poverty. Do you remember in Luke 18? You had the Pharisee at the temple and he was praying, and the tax collector was at the temple and he was praying. What did the Pharisee pray? God, I thank you that I'm not like that guy. What did the tax collector pray? God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And Jesus said, guess which one walked away forgiven? The one that asked for forgiveness. The one that was unwilling to say, God, forgive me. God wasn't able to forgive. Not because he's unwilling, but because there wasn't that heart to say, God, forgive me. And then on the other end is rebellious pride. You have self-righteous pride on one end, rebellious pride on the other end. Kind of like Pharaoh, if you remember Pharaoh, God demonstrated over and over and over again that he's God. And Pharaoh's heart got harder and harder and harder and harder. So much so that he was willing to drive his army into a sea to prove that he was right. And the sea collapsed in on him. And there's a rebellious pride in the heart of men and women that says, I would rather destroy my life and be my own master than to yield and to kneel and to surrender my life to someone else and give someone else control over my life. That's a person, likewise, who will say, God, I don't want your forgiveness. I don't need your forgiveness. I don't care. So there are those who are unaware, and then there are those who just don't care. Either way, it's not God. It's not God's heart. It's not God's plan. He's willing. He's long-suffering. He's patient. He doesn't want anybody to perish. He loves the world enough to send his own son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but will have everlasting life. Except the one that says, I'm not aware that I need your forgiveness because of my own self-righteousness, or I don't care about your forgiveness because of my rebellious pride. So if you're here tonight and you're like, man, I'm really concerned that I've blasphemed the Holy Spirit, the fact that you even have that thought is evidence to me that there's still a sensitivity in your heart. Just cry out for forgiveness. And he's faithful and good and loving to forgive you.